We got a quorum.
Yep. At 9:02, I will call this meeting of the Extension, Education, and Communication Committee meeting to order. We have a 12-item agenda. Open meeting law requirements have been met by proper posting. I will entertain a motion to adopt the amended agenda.
Move to adopt the amended agenda.
Motion by Nelson, second by Doug. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, carried. Likewise, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the March 25th, 2021 minutes of this meeting.
Mr. Chair, I have one question. When I got my minutes in my mail, I wasn't present, but I was on Zoom, but I see the minutes I was handed just now, so my name's, I must have been
We didn't put you down, because that counts.
on Zoom, right?
Yep.
You got that straightened out? Okay, thank you.
So you just need to correct, I'll correct
Yeah,
the
I did.
minutes.
That was my fault.
Okay.
I don't,
Oh, they're here.
I got one question.
They're here. On
Okay.
this one, they're correct.
Okay.
Oh, he did get it corrected.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I just got, maybe you guys can, could you hear me? I could hear,
Yep.
oh, I just, I just kind of wondered,
Well,
No.
you know, and it's interesting because periodically, no matter who's attending on Zoom or WebEx, sometimes they can be heard and sometimes they can't, and it,
Yeah, I just kind of, because I
We could hear you.
I could see you, I could hear everybody. Thank you.
evidently they came out properly, so I'll
Yes.
entertain a motion to adopt those minutes.
So moved.
Again, motion by Nelson,
Second.
by Seisha. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Now, in your packets, we got an agreement letter, the 2022 Foodwise County Agreement Letter.
And I am going to ask April to explain this to you, and then we will take the copy I have and we'll have you sign it.
Good
If
morning,
you approve it.
everyone. So I am in the midst of our fiscal year 22 planning, which seems really strange that we're talking about that right now. But our fiscal year is from October 1 to the end of September. And so we are getting all of our plans made for that time frame. And on that annual process is to have this agreement letter shared with the county. So this is something that's happened ever since we've been around in 1993. So just a little background, we are federally funded. So our presence in both Jackson and Trempealeau County is fully paid for through federal grants under the USDA SNAP grant. So we basically asked the county, we're bringing in $170,000 from that federal grant, most of that for Sandy and me to do what we do, but then of course all of the efforts and money that it takes to do that. We ask for things like office space, IT support, internet, some office supplies, some of those things. And so this letter just basically puts that as an official statement that Trempealeau County does support the Foodwise program and the efforts that we are providing for the county.
Thank you.
Any other questions about this?
I have none.
I have
No, we're fine.
Just a motion
So
to,
is Dan the official for the county and you're the,
I am?
Yeah,
oh, you are?
No, I'm not the official for the county. I'm the AED.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
the official.
Yeah, you're the, so you two are gonna sign that.
Well, we need a motion to.
Motion
I
and a
make a
sec-
motion that we,
Okay, motion by Doug,
I'll
Second.
second that.
Or,
Either way.
second by Kellen. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carried.
Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. You're welcome. Number 6 on the agenda, museum update. I can't see, is Nancy up there?
She is not.
Is anyone else going to be talking about the museum update?
She comes once, maybe twice a year.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess that seems like in the past, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We always just put it on there in case.
In case she comes.
Yeah.
All right, educator reports. Who wants to go first?
Actually, I am going to go first and then Melissa. We have everybody's educator reports, including Steve's, and he's been really quite busy this past quarter doing a lot of programming. It's a busy time of year for the ag educators. They're doing both programs for virtual delivery and some small in-person programs. Focus on forage, beef production, and farm-ready research. Badger Crop Connect. He's working through some of the issues with pesticide applicator training because that cap is having, so anyway, they've extended that and we'll see what happens. And he's been working with the statewide team on grain marketing materials. What I did want to tell you is that there are some family medical concerns right now, and he's been taking some time off, and until they figure out what's going on, it may just be intermittent. He may have to take more time off. But I will keep you up to date, and I am in regular communication with him, so.
Okay, if you would kindly do so, tell him our thoughts are with him on
I-
this.
I certainly will. I certainly will. And Melissa, Ms. Melissa, take her away.
All right. Good morning from upstairs. I'm in my office in Trempealeau County here. You have my report. I'm just going to do some of the highlights. It feels like we just met, although maybe it's just because April goes quickly, but some of the things that have developed since the last time we met was I've been working a lot on childcare development in this area. And I don't know if I mentioned this last year, but or last month, I did receive a grant from the Small Business Development Center to train and start up childcare centers or childcare in general. So that could be home-based childcare, center-based childcare, or school-based childcare. I've been working with a lot of the schools in the area about developing their programs or expanding their programs. And so we just received word last week that the funding was in place. And so those trainings will be coming up, and I'll be doing some promotion around that, whether it's helping a home-based business start up with childcare or increase the childcare that they already have, or some of the schools in the area are starting programs too. So there's such a need for childcare. One of the other programs that I'm working on is called Homegrown, and it's entrepreneur support meeting that will be hosted here in Trempealeau County this summer. And that's just to help cultivate a community that's friendly towards entrepreneurs and give entrepreneurs the training and support that they need to have their businesses here, start businesses, expand businesses, whatever it might be. I'm, always working on my other projects that are listed there, but I wanted to give you the highlights on some of the things that are more at the forefront. We are going to be doing year 3 of our well water study here in Trempealeau County. In fact, our well water specialist, Kevin Marsarek, who's at the UW-Stevens Point Lab, he was just on the radio on my drive in this morning, so it was fun to listen to him. And they were talking about nitrates in the water and some really exciting agricultural practices, both short-term and long-term, that are coming up or that are in the works that help with nitrate leakage into the water. And so we'll be doing that this summer. And then we also have an ongoing water testing program for homeowners in Trempealeau County, where they can go to Dairyland Labs in Arcadia and pick up a water test. And in the past, we've done this type of program where it's kind of like a one-day thing, and homeowners would come and pick up their test kit, they would test, and they'd bring it back on a designated day. Due to COVID last year, we didn't want to do that. So what we did is just set up this program at Dairyland Labs, and people can go in. And I'll say participation in it has been a lot lower than I would have thought it would be, considering, people don't have to do it on one specific day in the year. And we've tried to promote it, and it was Well Water Quality Week, whatever, a few weeks ago, and there was an uptick then because the health department had done some additional promotion. But it's been, I feel like participation has been lower than I would have expected. And then I've been working on some agricultural plastics recycling. I picked up some recapture bags on Monday. So I have recapture bags available if there's farmers who are interested in recycling their plastic or want to start collecting it. So those are some of the highlights. So any questions on that or anything in my report?
I guess not.
I've got one question.
Sure, Todd.
With childcare, how many children can you have before you got to be certified?
Well, they did just ease up a little bit on some of the licensing requirements. I think that was in February. But I want to say it depends on the age and whether they're related to the provider. So children who are, grandchildren or children of that provider, they don't count in that total. And there's a age too. So school age children, I think it's 7 and above. I don't think that there's necessarily limits, but I think it's limited to maybe 4 children under 4, but don't quote me on that, for home-based care. For center-based care, I know they did just increase the limit from, it can be 12 2- and 3-year-olds to 1 teacher. And that had been an increase recently from what it was.
Okay, you give me a little information. Thank you.
If someone has a question, I'll look up the specifics.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
Well, 1 adult to 12 kids, that's a brave adult.
And
Yeah,
trained.
I mean, that's my definition of hell, but I'm thankful for
Yeah.
people who are willing to do that, because I would never be able to handle that. But there are people who have those skills and have that training. God bless them.
Any other questions?
Doc, did you have one?
No, I do not.
Okay, Ellen?
Nope.
Okay,
Thank you, Melissa.
thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.
April and Sandy?
Yes, thank you for letting us go. Sandy has a lesson at 10, and so switching over to teaching mode in that regard. So you have our report in your packet. So just a reminder, we cover Jackson and Trempealeau County. I'm the coordinator. I oversee both counties. I am in charge of the education in Jackson, and Sandy is the Trempealeau County educator who does the work there and then overlaps into Jackson as well. So I'll give you a little bit on what I've been doing, and then Sandy will follow up with some of her efforts. So a lot of the virtual programming is coming to a close and then starting some new things. So the 5th grade lessons with Lincoln Elementary in Jackson County, and then the kindergarten lessons in Black River Falls. We did 6 virtual lessons. So wrapped up those and gearing up for our 4K lessons. Some of them have started already and some are starting this next week. So that's been exciting to get back in the classroom per se and do our work. We also did our performance reviews in the month of March. So I got ready for Sandy's, we completed that. I got ready for mine with Pat, we completed that. So check mark on that listing. We were also asked to share out our 5th grade virtual program on a statewide level, which is quite an honor to be able to share that with statewide folks so that they can see what we've been doing for our lessons, take those PowerPoints if they choose to and use them themselves, make them work for what they would like for their project. So we've been asked now to do 3 share outs on the statewide level. So quite an honor and a privilege to be able to do that. I also shared the poverty and food insecurity presentation that I did to this committee a couple months ago, I believe, but I did that presentation to the full Jackson County Board. And we are gearing up for a Head Start event that happens next week. A lot of prep work is going into that as usual, but for this one in particular, because we are offering it in both languages, so it will be simultaneously translated into Spanish. And so a lot of the work into making the PowerPoint presentation in both languages, going through the promotional flyers, working with UW-Madison to get all of those materials ready, practicing what that's going to look like. The nice part about the virtual element is we're able to meet with multiple Head Start centers at the same time. So in the before times, we would go to 4 different centers, 4 different days, 4 different times, and do that presentation. Now we're able to invite all 4 centers at the same time and provide that service for them. So we're excited to gear up for that. We already have RSVPs that our session will go. We've got, I think, 6 families so far, but that's the final RSVP happens tomorrow. So we're looking forward to that next week. Sandy, I'll turn it over to you for your piece of the report.
Oh, April always does a nice job presenting for us, so thank you, April. Thanks for allowing FoodWise to continue in our county. I think we impact a lot of kids. We had some 4-year-olds who say, I remember Miss Sandy and Miss April, they said we take little bunny bites to see if we like something. So there's a lot of impact that kids remember from year to year, even though it seems like a few lessons. I think it makes a real difference. I'm finishing some 4Ks, and most of May I've got those going on, and then we move to summer. So thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions for April or Sandy? Hearing none. Thank you much.
Well, Adam, why don't you go next?
Hello, can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So again, you have my report. Youth educator and family educator here in Trempealeau County. On the youth education side, again, doing a lot of work for youth and Latinx, youth and families who are Latinx or speak Spanish primarily. We had Independent School District attend our last 2 workshops about how to attend college and what to expect from college. We had a bunch of different universities and tech schools attend. So lots of good information getting out there for folks for how to live more fully in Trempealeau County, which is great. Moving into kind of the family education side, again, a lot of capacity building for the Alliance for Youth. We did receive our $3,000 grant from the Northwoods Coalition to do some more work here in our communities. The resilient and trauma-informed communities, in this one in particular, I want to take just a minute to highlight. So there's something called adverse childhood experiences. So various things that happen in childhood that studies have shown really affect health, well-being, and different things like that well into adulthood. And they can lead to a cycle where if you have some of these traumatic events in your childhood, then you're more likely to pass some of those on to your own children. So let's say it's domestic abuse, substance use, neglect, abuse. If you received some of those as a child, oftentimes that's what gets passed on to the next generation and so on and so forth. And it creates a generational cycle. And there's no real easy, quick shove a bunch of money at it, or let's hire a person or magic wand for it. And so this is an exact position where extension shines, because a lot of different groups are doing different things. And it's important to have a concerted community response where we all talk to each other to address a systemic problem that doesn't have a clear answer. And so we've been doing a lot of work for educating people like the people in the room right now. We just met with librarians. We'll meet with library staff, talking to people at your pharmacy about the fact that a lot of the stuff that you see adults facing, whether it's at a law enforcement committee meeting or different things like that, can often be a result of things that people face in childhood. So we've been doing a lot of work with that, in particular about direct education that can work to break the cycle that we see over and over again in our jails, in our schools, in our community, that we just kind of take for granted. It's like, oh, well, they're just them, and that's just kind of who they are, and there's not a whole lot we can do. But really there is, and it just takes the extra leap and sometimes support that Extension can provide to get us to the point where we're organized enough and committed enough to really tackle an issue like this. So it's just something that I wanted to highlight. Does anybody have any questions about that one specifically, or comments before I kind of move into the last bits?
I just wanted to say that I know his work with the librarians has been greatly appreciated. The Galesville librarian posted and was very excited about the meeting that you had with the librarians.
Thanks. And I think it's a key thing about Extension is I was able to use the social capital I had from doing STEM education in the libraries to then bring all of them to the table and say, hey, we're going to look at this thing together. We're a trusted partner. Let's talk about this deeper issue that's going to require a stronger commitment because we laid the groundwork in that foundational relationship work that is at the bedrock of Extension. So just wanted to kind of point that out. Some of the other things that I'm working on, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. I've been working to bring, continue to build the capacity of that group. We recently wrote a $2,000 grant proposal for that group to continue its work. And a lot of that is peer-to-peer, family-to-family kind of support groups and for folks who have mental illness in their families. We're also continuing to work as a leader for the state fatherhood program. I continue to work in the Trempealeau County Jail weekly, and some of the feedback that we've been getting from people in the jail is there's literally nothing else for them. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or therapist, but just hearing and listening to them again with that trauma-informed lens of tell me what's going on instead of like, you need this, you need that, be quiet, fill out this form, has done tremendous work to raise the self-efficacy of these folks and to help them get where they need to so that when they are released, they're not going to show up right back in the jail. And I think that's critical as far as like funding for the county, amongst a whole host of things of just like having community members being able to live more full lives. Continuing to provide diversion agreement trainings. And again, today, I'll put in a plug, today at noon in the Trempealeau room, we are having another meeting for putting together a broad coalition of community members to advocate for reentry resources. So we have a long laundry list of things that are very small asks, calling somebody, raising $5, different things that can really set somebody on a trajectory for success. Community members, family members, fathers, mothers that have children that depend on them, little things that we can do to set them up for success rather than writing them off as criminals or people who don't deserve that. I think a critical thing to think about is you're not denying kind of the livelihood of a criminal, you're denying the livelihood of a mother or a father who have people who depend on them. And then there's a whole bunch of money that is being written for through grants and different things like that, that shows the money invested in Extension can often pay for itself in the money and resources we bring into the county. And we're hiring a summer intern for a bunch of summer stuff that we're planning to do. But that's in the summer.
Any questions? Okay.
Very good.
Thank you, Adam.
I know Andrea is on her way someplace.
I was going to say, can I go next?
Yes, please.
Hey, so I'm actually on my way to get my second vaccine, and it just happened to work out that it was during the meeting. So I apologize for this, but also the fun part about having the ability to do virtual is that I'm still able to join you guys. So I will always put a little bit of a plug for that just because I do appreciate the ability to be virtual. So I've been working on, as you guys will see in my report, I've done some curriculum that I've also worked on this past year. I've done 2 now, and we're also working on another one. So I worked on the Plarn mats, which is helping to address homelessness in Wisconsin. Plarn is plastic yarn made of plastic bags, so like the grocery bags that you get at Walmart or Randy's. And I know everyone has a bag full of plastic bags somewhere in their house that they are a little bit ashamed of having, as Pat holds up her plastic bag that she also has. This project was kind of created to help address the plastic bag issue, but also give youth a way to do a project that can be done in person or at home or just with their family members. You don't have to get a huge group of people together and do this project. We're going to be doing some virtual learning community sessions on it this summer. Myself and Rachel, the Eau Claire County educator or 4-H educator, were a big part of this, and we worked really closely with Monica Lobenstein, the extension educational specialist. I think that's her title. I can't remember now. But so we worked on that, and I think it's one of the first of its kind in the nation for this type of resource. So we really broke it down to create so that you really don't have to be able to crochet in order to make these mats. So you just have to be able to source the mats and then put them together to make Plarn, which isn't too hard. We have videos available to make that happen, and then you have to crochet them. And the hard part, or not the hard part, but you're going to have to find some places to distribute them to, which of course in Trempealeau County, we don't see our homeless population. So we don't necessarily have the best place to be distributing mats to, correct? Most of the people who are homeless in Trempealeau County are couch surfing or sleeping in their car, which is a sad reality. So that is one part that we're working on figuring out. How are you going to then distribute them? Are they going to go up to Eau Claire? Are they going to go to La Crosse? Or are they going to go down to Madison and Milwaukee? So this is something that 4-H clubs get the opportunity to do, but we're also encouraging other youth who may not be in 4-H to be able to do. Another thing that I've been working on is trying to think what I had on my list. Normally I have it up, but I don't have the opportunity to do that today. I know I'm a part of what? Oh, Clover College boxes. Yes. So Michelle and I are super excited about our Clover College boxes, naturally, because we want to do all the projects. One day you're gonna come to the office and we're gonna be doing projects. It's part of our job. So Michelle and I picked out some really good projects for kids. I tried to when we choose these projects, I'm trying to make sure that they're not just natural resources, or they're not just arts and crafts or sewing. So we have 5 of them. One is like a robotics type bristle brush robots, which you take the head of a toothbrush and you put a little vibrating motor on it and it'll move around like a little bug. They're super fun. And we have the Mighty Wallet, where youth are going to be able to sew their own wallet. You make your own sketchbook out of cardboard and paper. And of course, naturally, then if you make your own sketchbook, you get to design your own sketchbook and create it how you want. We have Tackling Tackle, where we have a tackle lesson about like different parts of tackle and how to use the proper tackle for the kind of fish you want to catch. And then we also are including a cute little tackle box, like yay big, with bobbers and hooks for the youth who completed that lesson. And what's the other one? Oh, corn plastic. So they're going to also be making corn plastic, which you can make that at home, which if you didn't know, it's super cool. You just have to be able to have cornstarch and some other ingredients. I think we were learning about glue. This was something we didn't know. There's different types of glue. School glue is one, just plain Elmer's glue, and there was another one. So Michelle had to make sure that we had the right kind of glue to do this project, just an FYI. So we've been really working on making sure that we have some great lessons. The Clover College project boxes, I'm not replacing Clover College at all. I'm thinking that these are going to be something that I will do during the winter, kind of when we're getting in the humdrum, like, oh, what the heck am I going to do with my kids? We're stuck inside kind of thing. These are going to be something that we'll have available. I'm testing out a different way to register for them this time around. I think it's going well. I'm using 4-H online because we do have a way to do that. And we've got about 4 families signed up so far. It's a little lower than I want, but I'm going to keep pushing it. I might even extend the date. We'll see. I'm still figuring it out. Another big thing that I've really been working on is just filling my calendar with summer stuff. So I've got a couple day camps planned for Trempealeau County. I'm helping out Adam with science camp this year, which I'm super excited about because I've heard nothing but amazing things about science camp. So I'm ready to be a part of it. Then beyond that, I'm getting ready to be at the fair. You guys are probably either going to see me out, or I'm going to be at a program, or I might not be in the office. But I know that this is 4-H busy time right now, is gearing up in May through May through August. So we'll see. I'm excited that this is going to be a fairly normal summer. I say fairly because like masks are still going to be required for extension programming. And we're still going to have a couple guidelines in place, but for the most part, it's going to be pretty normal. And I'm ready. I'm getting ready for the summer intern who's going to help a lot with some of the summer programming that we're doing. And yeah, it's going to be good. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Nope.
Very good.
Thank
No?
you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Okay. Caitlin is with us, so she can share her report and answer any questions if you have them.
Hey folks, I apologize for being late. Had to do a little troubleshooting with my rural internet this morning, but we got everything working and under control now. So at the time I wrote this report, I had only been on the job for about 2 weeks, so it's a little lax to start out the gate, but wanted to report that so far I have been really focused on a lot of new employee orientation and onboarding tasks, things in the office and things with the University of Wisconsin, number of seminars and things. And also networking with the local community, trying to establish those relationships. So I have been working with various lists, like master gardeners, nurseries, and specialty growers that are in Trempealeau and Jackson counties. And feedback is starting to trickle in, and I'm organizing that feedback to kind of have a stakeholders report of interests and priorities so that I can kind of get a handle on, what are people really interested in, and, what types of specialty crops are grown in the area, and what are those farmers really seeing as challenges or opportunities. Let's see what else. I'm starting to get more organized with programming. Steve and I have already planned to do some joint programming together, as well as Andrea and I on some, 4-H gardening things. So that's exciting to start collaborating with other members of the team and working together. And so far, with some of the feedback that has come back, it also seems like there could potentially be interest in some other topics as well, like hosting a Master Gardener's training, farm to school programs, perhaps cross-cultural gardening and cooking in community gardens, and the incorporation of more pollinator gardens. So those are some of the themes that I've started to get feedback about. And I also think I will start to, once the farmers markets start up in earnest, I'd like to schedule some times to have a table, maybe do some demonstrations, maybe do like an Ask a Horticulturalist type thing. Not really quite sure exactly what it'll look like yet, but I feel like coming to the farmers markets is a really great place to meet not only the producers, but folks who are interested in local food and fresh food. And it'll be a really great way for me to get some like FaceTime with the local community. So hopefully I'll be able to do that in farmers markets in both counties this summer as well. So yeah, that's about it so far. But let me know if you guys have any other questions.
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very good.
Just a reminder, Caitlin is a 50% appointment, and we split her between Jackson and Trempealeau. She is, she will have regular office hours, and people can certainly leave emails and voicemail messages. We've made it as easy as possible for that to happen. So, and she has also said that some basic horticulture questions are sort of trickling in. And I know that Steve celebrated with a happy dance the day the first tree question came in, and he could pass it off to Caitlin. So, thank you very much, folks. I appreciate your sharing with the committee. One thing, I'm glad we were able to get these out in advance. That's actually why the date, sometimes we need to get all their information by, I think, the first of the month, so we can prepare it. We're in the process of trying to sort of put a specific kind of format together for these reports. Trempealeau County, Trempealeau and Jackson aren't up on the schedule yet, but it will be one report with the section for each educator. And it will, we hope that it will reduce the work because it will actually pull data from the state's reporting system. So instead of reporting to the reporting system and then reporting to the committee, we can literally just go into the reporting system and make a single report. But so you'll see some changes in that, but this is our main communication tool with you. And we look for feedback and hope you find it helpful and educational. Okay. Oh, I don't have that.
We good? We're going to move on to resolution for carryover funds.
Yes.
If you'd like me to read it, I'd be happy to do so.
I will let you, let me sort of explain the, Paul approached Michelle and said we had money left over and money got split into 2 accounts, and he's like, go and ask for this, so we're asking for it. So go ahead and read it.
Okay, this is carryover 2020 funds from extension budget to support water testing and other priority extension projects. Whereas the 2020 budget for extension included funding for a cost-share water testing program and a water quality study, and whereas these funds were not completely expended because of the pandemic, and whereas these programs continue to be a high priority of this county, according to the strategic plan developed by the county, and whereas a balance of $9,234.50 remained in the extension budget and those savings were returned to the general fund, and whereas it is in the best interest of Trempealeau County to carry over the unused balances rather than levy for them, now therefore be it resolved that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors do hereby authorize the amount of $9,234.50 be carried over to the 2021 budget to support the groundwater research project and the water testing program. Be it further resolved that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors do hereby authorize the county clerk to transfer $5,832 from line item 101.55620.999 and $3,402.50 from line item 101.55621.294 to Fund 101.55621.294 and make it a non-lapsing account. Introduced by Extension Education Committee Dan Schreiner, Kellen Nelson, Richard Seisha, Doug Winters, Joe Feltus. We have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Nelson, second by Winters. Any discussion or comments?
Is that for testing, is that, or you got a certain spot you want to use that money at one area?
No, it's anywhere.
Anywhere, okay.
It's
okay.
anywhere. The groundwater quality study is a specific set of wells, but the cost share testing is anywhere. We do have sort of priorities. If if you've never tested before, you're going to come up higher than if you test all the time. But
Anything else? Voice vote is fine. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carried.
okay, and I have the. Yeah. I'll pass it.
Well,
Thank you
wait.
very much. This is, oh, he's got it. He's got it.
Oh, he's got it,
He's
okay.
got it. I'm sorry. I kept thinking, isn't there one with a, like
That
a,
one with the pink thing on it.
yes.
There it is.
There you go. Thank you so much for your continued support. This is clearly a priority project. One of the best things you can do is to test your well annually. If you are on groundwater, if you're on well, you have to be the water
Utility.
utility.
Yep.
And we know we do have areas where there is a problem. I mean, that's part of why Doug asked the question he did. The very southern end of the county is one of our hot zones.
Is that both the town of Trempealeau and town of Caledonia?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And do we know why that is, or do we suspect?
We suspect it's actually a combination of a couple things. One is the soil type.
Sand?
It's sand. It's like filling a bathtub with gravel. Anything you put on top kind of goes straight down. And then there's a lot of, it's a lot of very intensive agriculture. And then you have all those people there, so you have that.
That's been a change that's occurred in my career here, the
Yes.
influx of what would be considered maybe a bedroom community.
Yeah,
So-
so it's that conflict. And then there are some other smaller areas. It tends to be, the floodplain outwash, so, near the Trempealeau River and other. And also when we have Kevin Masaryk do our maps when we're doing these tests, ground cover seems to make a difference. So those places where there's lots of trees, forests and stuff, it's not as big a deal. But
In my previous life as the county's emergency management director, I experienced quite a few times of warnings to well owners on how to behave and proceed once floodwaters have come up and then gone away. And I'm hoping that Extension can work closely with Public Health in maybe doing some informational distribution prior to floodwaters so that we don't have to scramble after the fact. It's difficult to maintain a proactive approach to a lot of emergencies, but it usually works better than responding to the emergency after it's been here.
yeah, you and I both understand that. We do have an ongoing working relationship with Public Health on this project as well as land conservation. The information is shared broadly. We take advantage of the fact that they have the technical expertise, the Public Health Department, with their environmental folks. Is it a partnership that could get stronger and better? Yes.
Yes. We can always improve.
Yeah, and right now, I'm sort of reluctant to ask much of Barb when she's dealing with a pandemic, but
Well, we
yes.
can certainly attempt to enlist the current county emergency management director
Yes.
to get involved to a greater
Oh,
degree
yeah.
here as well.
His name is,
Dustin Stevens.
I wanted to call him Steve, but no wonder.
Once you get to know him, you can call him Fluffy.
I trust he's not, yeah, okay, I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Not too many people I'd call fluffy. All right, so that's where we are. Thank you again, very much appreciated. COVID programming update. I wanted to share with you some of the changes that have, that are going in place, that have gone into place. With the pandemic, all the educators were told to work remotely. We were told, essentially, we want you to teach virtually, meet virtually, all those things. If we did have in-person meetings, there were very strict requirements. These have been modified to reflect the changing circumstances that we are facing. So as of April 1st, we could increase the number of people we had at indoor meetings. We could put it up to 30% of room capacity. They could increase pod sizes to 20. The pods were little groups of people who, like families, who would have been sharing their air anyway. But now they can go up to 20. And we can increase the length of our events from 2 hours to 4 hours if needed, if appropriate. And we got rid of some of the approval processes, which was good. We will be seeing, the dean has shared some of the new guidelines that will go into effect June 1st, and we can go up to 50% of room capacity for indoor events, 500 outdoors. We don't need to use pods. Events can be all day. We've cut back on the approval processes. I mean, you can get exceptions for things, but then you have to go through an approval process. We can serve food again, some other things like that. So it's really opened up a lot. And the other thing he has done, we have been told by the university and the dean to work remotely, and we've been very successful at it. I think we've learned a tremendous amount. We have not lost productivity. And people are doing amazing creative things, reaching people in ways they never have before. But and since, I don't know, January-ish, we've been able to come into the office a little bit, no more than half of our time. We had to observe spacing, so we couldn't all come in at once. But between now and July 1st, it's a transition period with the expectation that we'll return to more normal work schedules out of our official county offices. I will be meeting with each educator to talk about that transition. But it's also important to remember that our best work is not done when we're sitting on our chair in our office. I mean, do you come in and sit on a chair in Steve's office when you're working with him? No. They're out in the field. They're at the library, working with the librarians. They're out and about. And they work interesting and unusual hours because they work when the people who need them need them. So if you're doing a lot of work with, daycare providers, you need to do it before all the kids come and after all the kids come. So Their hours are different, and we do have some flexibility. But we will be, you know, it will look a bit more normal. The important thing to remember, and I cannot emphasize this enough, is the pandemic is not over. It's not over. So we're returning to the office in a time of pandemic. So that means we will still be wearing face coverings. We can't call them masks. Face coverings, social distancing, washing our hands, you know, generally trying not to gather in large groups, making sure we have the masks on if we do. And really, I can't tell you how important this is. If you feel sick, stay the heck at home. Some people have commented about, we haven't had a flu season. Well, do you know why we haven't had a flu season? We've all been wearing masks and washing our hands. So those are important public health practices. People feel very, I had a meeting with the group, with all my educators in the county, and I put up the question, how did you feel when the dean announced the July 1st return to the office date? And I put up a whole big list of words, emotions. Things from ecstatic, excited, thrilled, to terrified. I mean, and we got everything. You know, people are feeling lots of mixed emotions. Some people are really excited, some people are really scared. Most people feel both. And so for those of us who are managing individuals, whether it's the area extension director or the director of human services or whoever else you are managing people, we have to manage those different feelings and emotions. We've been away from people for a year, so we kind of have to relearn how to be back in that group environment, and as managers and coworkers, we need to be sensitive to that. So, any questions about this?
No, I'll just echo the fact that we need to keep in mind that the pandemic is not over, that I'm confident that the proposed changes in the policy will depend on the pandemic and how it behaves in the future. There is still some concern that some of the variants are going to be vaccine resistant and more contagious, so just encourage everybody to maintain your 6-foot distance, your face covering, and hand washing.
Yes. And yeah, I absolutely agree.
You know, and I will add, I'm from a generation where you went to work regardless of how you felt, unless you were so sick you couldn't do it. When that is not the healthiest thing to do. And I myself have to remind myself, I don't feel good, stay home, don't have contact with people. So that's something we need to keep in mind.
It's very important to keep that in mind. The plus side of having proven to ourselves we can do stuff virtually is if I have a fever but I'm still able to move and groove,
Yeah.
I can participate in a meeting virtually, you know, so on. One of the staff reminded me, and it's important, because we have all those social distancing requirements, we have a small office upstairs. So it is very unlikely anytime soon that there will be a day when they can all show up and be in one place, because they'd be in violation. And I have another county office that's like that. It's even smaller than this one. And, you know, I don't care what the dean says in order to follow safety guidelines. I can't have more than 2 people in that office at a time.
How many counties are you involved
4.
with?
I supervise the staff in 4 counties.
Which ones?
Pepin, Buffalo, Trempealeau, and Jackson County. And that's why you see, you know, we share so many folks with Jackson. And even if we don't officially share, you know, I encourage them to work across county lines, whether it's other counties in our area or to the north, to the south, work with the folks that get the results you need. Any questions about that?
Take us through the budget, Pat.
I shall. The budget. Well, we've just ripped through all the money. No, we haven't. I know that Kellen is new and the budgeting sort of, you know, may not make tons of sense until you get used to it. The money paid for our support staff for Michelle comes under line 111, 131, 132, 151, 152, and 153, and 154. Actually, all those first numbers. And that's what the county pays to have Michelle as our support staff. Now, if you're not familiar with the extension budget, you're like, where are they hiding those educator salaries? I'm glad you asked this question. Dan, we actually put the educator cost under line 210, professional services. And that approved budget amount is the annual cost for the year. And the county receives 2 bills a year from the university to pay for that. And this, our first bill just came, so it doesn't show up here, but Michelle would have paid for that. Everything else is the other contract services, 290, because that always throws me for a loop. That's actually for the printer.
Printer?
The printer. Because we pay that for the printer. And the rest of it is pretty, you know, kind of what you expect. And we are, you know, well below our normal, especially with meals and lodging and mileage. Those just aren't being expended as much because we're not traveling as much. The educational supplies, those are for the special programs we do with STEM and the camps. And so you'll see more expenditure of those more in summer. But we're in good shape, you know. I like to think that we're good stewards of the money that the county lets us use to provide extension education to the people of Trempealeau County.
See, a minor point here, in March, you blew your advertising budget out of the water and then some.
What number is that? Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
326, and, you know, as someone who's had to live by a budget, that's a controllable line item.
Yes, it is.
So, I'm assuming someone can articulate why more than twice the budget got spent in the month of March.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, it's a typo.
No, I doubt it's a
Yeah.
typo. One of the things that's happened is we have to do more aggressive advertising for the programs to get people to participate.
Sure.
There were some big programs.
Pat, I got an answer from Michelle on that.
Oh, great.
That's from the Historical Society.
It's not ours?
Oh,
Very good.
yay.
Here Pat was trying to come up with all kinds of answers for us. She didn't have to.
I didn't have to. Yeah, because there's one or two historical society bills that will show up in our budgeting stuff, and it's like, well, where do we put those? So,
You know, and while I understand that we're good if we basically come in under budget at the end of the year.
yeah, because we can move
Yeah.
money between line items.
But
Because you,
these
yeah.
are some of the things you need to pay attention to along the way, so you don't have an issue at the end of the year, so.
Yeah. And we do.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Melissa. We do. I mean, I look at this and it's like, you know, where are we at? Where are we at as a function of where we are in the year? And then, you know, from a more detailed analysis, when the time flow, when are these monies more likely to be expended? And I'm thinking with the, like with the mileage, you know, we've spent a whopping 200 this year. Is that as things open up and we're able to do more direct education, you'll see that line item go up. In membership dues, that's, they usually all come due at about the same time, so.
You're in really good shape in about all departments from what I can see, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. But I pay attention, because if things start getting out of whack all over the place, I'm like, ah. And I rely on Michelle to help keep track of that. But some things, you know, you know what the salary's gonna be, you know what the vacation, all those numbers. And sometimes when we add a new line, we're like, yeah, we're gonna guess on this one.
Anything else on the budget? If not, let's set the next meeting date.
I do have another question.
Sure.
Not related to anything that's been talked about yet, but I received in the mail, and I know some others did too, a mailer from Rockford Publishing
Yes?
for a plat book
Yes.
sale. It does not appear to be connected to our county at all.
I'm gonna
I can
ask-
talk about that.
That would be great.
Thank
'cause
you.
I think
I
that's
thought you were
appropriate.
gone, but you're there, so talk to me about
Nope,
that.
I'm still here. So that is it. I guess you can say that is our competition for plat books. Julie, I will use her term. They're plat book pirates. So they do not actually get any of their information from the Department of Land Management. They buy an old plat book from somewhere and then they sell it as a new plat book. So no, we are not charging $45 for our plat books. They will be the same price. Our plat books are going to be coming out in October, and I'm already getting the ball rolling to get those happening this next year or this fall. So yeah, if anyone else asks you about them, just say don't buy it. I mean, if they want to, they can. Some businesses have already been asked to have ads in their plat book, and it's not us. So if it has a clover on it, it's 4-H, and we use mapping solutions for ours anyway. So I hope that answers your question, Kellen.
It does, and I'm glad to hear that. Frustrated that there's a competitor for that. If we can communicate that, you know, to the public via Facebook or something, I think that would be good to
Thank you, Kellen.
make known.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and we didn't know that they had started selling in Trempealeau County until we got the mailers in our office.
Yeah.
So, because Michelle emailed me and she's like, did we sign a contract I didn't know about? No. When I was up in Oneida County, they did similar things. So, yeah, I need to send something out probably in the newsletter as I'm working on it to say, hey, like this is not 4-H. 4-H will have a clover on it.
Perfect. That sounds good.
Right. Oh, yeah. And
When do we normally meet?
this is the, hang on.
Fourth Thursday of the month?
I look at the calendar.
Four?
Yes, the fourth Thursday.
I will be on vacation that day in May.
27th?
Hang on,
And I'm confident that life would go on with me being on vacation, but just so you know, I would be unable to attend I'll be gone all that week.
The week of the 27th, you'll be gone.
Yep.
yeah. Are we comfortable doing it on the 27th without our fearless leader? That means you have to step up, Kellen.
I mean, if I need to and we want to stay on schedule, that's fine.
Shall we stay on schedule?
27th, that's, yeah. that's
Okay.
fine with me.
All
So we're
right.
going for the 27th.
So May 27
At 9, right?
at 9. And okay. And I will let him know. Okay. And unless you strongly object, I'm still gonna do these hybrid, so
Yeah.
people can.
No, by all means, we just got done talking about the need for
Yeah.
us to pay attention and be attentive to the pandemic, so I
Yep.
think that's a good idea.
Okay. The other thing that I would like to mention, and I've been trying to tell people this, you know the phrase, after-action review.
Yeah.
Plus Delta. We need at some point, all the different kind of organizations, county government, committee, extension, to actually sit down and have some rich discussion about what worked during the pandemic. You know, what kinds of things did we have to change that are worth keeping? What do we not need anymore? You know, what did we learn? Those kinds of things. One of the things educators have been asking me a lot about is the concept of virtual teaching. And, you know, there are people out there who really like it. It's a way to get to a larger audience. You know, instead of as April pointed out, instead of traveling 4 places, she just does one, you know, prepares for one event. You know, so things like that are really, really helpful. And it's like, you know, we've been able to program, you know, with more people throughout the state because we don't have to drive everywhere. So, and I'm not sure what the county's position will ultimately be on participation in Zoom meetings for supervisors, but it just, you know, it makes sense to me, but at some point having that conversation.
I think it'd be an excellent idea to, once this pandemic has eased up or is gone, we resist the knee-jerk response to go back to the way we used to do things, because there are many benefits to doing things remotely, as you just stated. And we just have to keep that in mind.
I think so. I think so. We got the date set, May 27th at 9. We'll do hybrid, so people can Zoom in if they want.
If there's nothing else, I'll adjourn this meeting at 10 minutes after 10.